Alright, what I'm going to talk about today is making roofs for the buildings. Now, somebody just wrote me today and asked me the best way to cut and assemble these roofs, so I thought I would do a little video to show you. We'll pretend that this building doesn't have a roof by removing it, and we have this fresh roof material. Now, the roof material that I sell is sold in lengths to accommodate a building with a 40-foot wall. So this is oversized for a 30-foot wall and very much oversized for a 20-foot wall. That way I can sell one size and it fits all basically, but you do have to trim it. So what we do when we want to trim this stuff here is, what I like to do is have the building assembled first and do the walls last. Pick up a pencil and just set it on here and figure out how much overhang I want on each end. I don't like a lot, but a little bit, probably a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch. And then I'll come down here and make a line hanging over about the same amount that I have at that end. Now once I have that line started there, I'll grab a little T-square and finish the line and make sure that it's absolutely square with the edge, so we get a nice 90-degree angle there. Now if you don't happen to have a machinist square hanging around, which most people don't, you can use just about anything that's square and just put it up against the edge and then draw a line up and get your nice square edge there. Okay, now once that's done, I'll set down the other one, line them up here. You can take just about anything and just butt them up against there. Make sure they're even, and then take that T-square again, or whatever it was you used. Again, let's make sure they're nice and square, and just continue that line. Okay, so now we've got both of them marked, and then the real issue is how to cut this stuff. It is plastic, it's fairly soft, doesn't take a lot of effort to cut. There are a few different ways of doing it depending on what kind of tools you have and what you're comfortable with. If you have a full workshop full of all kinds of power tools, you can use a table saw, you could use a band saw and cut it real close to the line and then sand it down to the line. Cut there. If you don't have a lot of power tools, which a lot of people don't, a simple X-Acto knife will work. Now I'm going to cut outside of the line because I'm going to make a few cuts here just to show you a couple of different techniques. Now you can take your X-Acto knife and just score it several times. You can keep doing this until you're all the way through if you like, or you can just do it a multitude of times and then just snap it off. That gets you a pretty good edge. Then I would take some sandpaper on a block of wood or something and just clean up that end. Okay, but now that's not where I wanted it cut. I wanted it cut on that line, so I'll show you another technique. So for this technique I'm going to show you now, we use the back side of the blade rather than the sharp side. What I do is I take a pair of needle nose pliers and very carefully just break off the very tip so I don't have a pointed tip on the end. Now when you do that, you are breaking off a piece of metal and it's very sharp, so make sure you're wearing safety glasses and that little piece of metal doesn't somehow fly up into your eye. So now basically we have a X-Acto knife now without a sharp tip on it. Using again the back side of the blade, I will just score along that line. This is also a great technique for scribing panel lines in different things if you ever need to do that. And again, as I did in the other technique, just snap it off once you get close. Okay, now that piece is done. Now we'll do the other piece here to show you yet another technique, and that would be with a razor saw. This happens to be an X-Acto. There's several different brands available at your local hobby store, and you can use this to basically just saw through it. If you happen to have one of the small aluminum miter boxes, or even one of the plastic miter boxes. That comes in real handy for keeping your cut straight. But if all you have is one of these, and this is what you want to do, just line it up on that line and carefully start cutting into it. And just like with all the other techniques, you can cut all the way through if you want, or just snap it off. Once you've done that, again, you'll want to take a sanding block, get a nice smooth finish, and get it right down to the line in case you were a little bit crooked, which I was. Okay, so those are the two pieces cut to length. They are approximately exactly the same size. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is orient them so that the shingles are going down, both of them. Figure out what is the proper orientation for them, and this is it in this case. And you could glue them together just like this, butt them up against each other, but then what's going to happen is one is going to be shorter than the other because of the way you've done this. So what I do is I actually cut a 45-degree angle on these two edges so they come together like a miter joint. There's a lot of different ways to do that. The most basic way is to take a sanding block and just start sanding this until you get a 45-degree angle, and that's probably the easiest way for most people that don't have power tools. But if you have a disc sander, you can just take it right up to the disc sander and just touch it on there, and it'll put a 45-degree angle on it. And just because I don't want to take too long here, I'm going to run over and do that right now, and I'll be back with these with 45-degree angles on them.